Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. This is where we take all that research you've pulled together, the articles, the guides, maybe specialized notes, and really turn it into a conversation tailored just for you.
Exactly. Our job is to sort of add that context, clear up any muddy points, and really pull out the insights that actually matter. We want you walking away feeling, really equipped on whatever complex topic you brought us.
And today, wow, we're diving into something huge. It's the journey of postpartum recovery and fitness. I mean, it's a massive physical and mental undertaking, and getting solid guidance here is just, it's essential.
It really is. It's such a transformative time. And while we're working from your excellent sources today, it's worth mentioning, if you ever need just clear, practical articles on fitness or wellness basics, bfit.ai is a great free resource. Really easy to digest info there.
Okay, right. So let's get into this. Our listeners given us a really comprehensive stack, looks like a full postpartum fitness and recovery guide, pulled from various experts. Our mission here is to cut through the noise, that whole bounce back idea. We want to help you navigate this with real knowledge, focusing on healing, rebuilding, and finding that sustainable strength and confidence, not just chasing an old look.
And that core philosophy, we have to nail that down right away, because it shapes everything else. Postpartum fitness is absolutely not about bouncing back. I mean, that phrase almost dismisses the incredible thing your body just did. It sort of implies there was something wrong that needs fixing, and that's just not the right frame.
It's kind of toxic, honestly, when you think about it. And the sources you provided, they're all unified on this. This is about healing what needs to heal, building a new, maybe even stronger foundation, and moving forward, into this new phase with a body that feels supported and, yeah, confident. It's a huge transformation, needs respect.
Okay, section 1, why movement is recovery. Let's tackle this because, look, if you're a new parent, the idea of exercising, it probably feels like a bad joke sometimes. The fatigue is just, it's immense. When every spare second is feeding, changing, or maybe a 20-minute power nap, why push yourself to move?
Yeah, and that's where we need that mindset shift. Movement isn't just about, like, losing baby weight. It's recovery. It's medicine, in a way. Your sources break down 5 key benefits, and it's interesting how much emphasis they put on mental health right off the bat. That's the first one, mood and mental health. And it makes so much sense. The sources mention findings, supported by places like the Mayo Clinic, about exercise releasing endorphins. Biologically, this is huge postpartum, right? When hormones like progesterone, estrogen, they just plummet. It can be a really rough emotional landscape.
Precisely. We're talking about actual clinical support here for stabilizing your mood, for reducing the risk or maybe the severity of postpartum depression and anxiety. It's a non-negotiable part of recovery that has nothing to do with how you look. When you're feeling all over the place emotionally and you haven't slept, that little bit of movement can actually be a significant chemical boost.
Okay, then moving into the physical stuff. Core and pelvic floor strength. We have to talk about this. It's fundamental. And we're not talking six-pack abs here.
Not at all. This is pure function. The American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, ACOG, they emphasize this. Pregnancy stretches everything, right? The abdominal wall, the pelvic floor muscles. Plus, hormones relax all the connective tissues. That linea alba, that tissue down the middle of your abs, it's been seriously stretched. If you don't intentionally rebuild that foundation, you're setting yourself up for potential long-term problems, chronic issues.
Yeah, long-term stuff like persistent back pain, maybe hip instability, and the one that's often tough to discuss, incontinence, urinary leakage, things like that. So rebuilding the core, it's about protecting your body's internal structure, arguably the most vital physical role here.
Then there's that great paradox, right? The fatigue thing. Movement actually improves energy levels. It sounds completely backward when you're bone tired, I know. But gentle, consistent movement helps combat that deep postpartum fatigue. It gets circulation going, boosts blood flow to the brain. And it helps regulate your stress hormones, like cortisol, which are probably going wild from lack of sleep and, well, stress.
And better movement regulation can often lead to slightly better sleep quality when you do manage to get some sleep. It's like a positive cycle. Speaking of practical things, let's talk about the actual demands of being a new parent. What the sources call everyday strength.
Oh, this is so important. Your sources really paint a picture here. Being a parent turns you into like an Olympic lifter, but with really awkward weights. Think about it. Constantly hoisting a 15-pound car seat, often at a weird angle. Rocking a baby for hours as they get heavier. Leaning over crib rails. Carrying a toddler on one hip eventually. These are repetitive, often heavy tasks, multiple times a day.
You're absolutely right. And if your core isn't strong, all that load goes straight to your lower back, your neck, your shoulders. So investing a little time in rebuilding strength, it directly translates to less backache, fewer posture problems down the line. It's about being able to parent without constant pain, physical longevity.
And finally, yes, we get to the appearance aspect, but let's reframe it. Sustainable weight loss. The research is really clear here. Forget crash diets. Forget punishing workouts. Your body's just gone through 9 months of massive change. It's recovering. Hormones are fluctuating. Maybe you're breastfeeding, slashing calories, or adding intense stress. That just hinders recovery.
Right. The sources push for consistent, gentle movement plus good nutrition. The idea is to help your endocrine system, your hormones, find their balance again. Things like thyroid function, cortisol levels. Once they start stabilizing, your body will naturally find its metabolic set point over time. It's about nourishing and supporting the body back to health, not, forcing it through deprivation. Okay, that leads us perfectly to the next big and often really stressful question. When? When can I actually start doing something? Section 2, the critical timing of return.
And the first immediate answer has to be, it's totally personal. 100% depends on your specific birth, how your body is recovering, and crucially, getting the okay from your doctor or midwife.
Mm-hmm.
But we can definitely outline the general paths, right? Because they differ significantly.
Let's start with the vaginal birth. Assuming things went relatively smoothly, no major complications, what do the sources say?
For that path, gentle movement, specifically walking, can often start very soon, sometimes within days, maybe even the day after. That immediate light activity is actually good. Helps circulation, can help prevent blood clots, just easy short walks.
But, and this is a big but for anything more structured, like actual exercises targeting muscles, using resistance, anything like that.
You absolutely have to wait for that 6-week postpartum checkup. That's the benchmark. There's a reason for that wait. Your uterus needs that time for involution shrinking back down. Your ligaments, which got all loose from hormones, need time to start firming up again. You need that medical green light before doing anything more intense. Mandatory.
Okay. Now, the C-section recovery path, this is really different, and it's so important people understand this.
Oh, completely different. Your sources rightly frame a C-section as major abdominal surgery. I mean, they've cut through multiple layers of tissue, skin, fat, fascia, muscle, peritoneum, uterus, and repaired them. So the waiting period for any kind of strenuous activity, anything beyond gentle walking, has to be longer. Typically minimum 8 to 10 weeks. Often more, depending on the person.
And that wait isn't about being lazy or falling behind. It's critical healing time. It allows those deeper layers, the fascia, the muscle sheets, to actually mend properly, for the scar tissue to mature. Pushing it too soon, you risk serious issues, wound complications, hernia development, chronic pain. You have to respect the surgery. Prioritize that deep, quiet healing first.
Exactly. And beyond just the birth type, there are specific situations, specific conditions that demand specialized help before you even think about traditional core exercises. Even after the 6 or 10-week mark, the specialist mandate.
This is so key for you listening. If you had significant tearing during delivery, like a 3rd or 4th degree tear, or if you're experiencing symptoms of pelvic organ prolapse, which the sources describe often as like a feeling of heaviness or pressure down there, maybe like something is bulging or dragging.
You need to see a specialist, usually a pelvic floor physical therapist, right away. Don't just jump into exercises. And the big one, diastasis recti, or DR, that abdominal separation. If you lie down, lift your head slightly, and feel a gap, or see a bulging like a little dome shape along your midline. The National Library of Medicine guidelines are clear. See a pelvic floor PT. They can properly assess the gap, the width, the depth, how much tension is in that connective tissue.
And why is seeing that specialist so vital in those cases?
Because if you do have significant DR or prolapse or issues from tearing, doing the wrong exercises like crunches or planks done improperly can actually make the condition worse. Actively worsen it. You can't just push through these things with standard fitness advice. You need specific, targeted rehab exercises. A specialist can make sure your deep core muscles are firing correctly in the right sequence. It avoids that feeling of information overload too, right? It tells you exactly when you need to pause the general advice and get personalized help.
Right. Okay, so let's say you've got the all clear from your doctor, maybe you've seen a specialist if needed, and you're ready to start moving more intentionally. This brings us to section 3. Safe and effective rebuilding, the how-to, and NOAA. The core principle here seems to be gentle rebuild first. Don't shock the system.
Exactly. And we start with the simplest, most accessible thing, walking. We mentioned it for early recovery, but it remains a powerhouse. Your guide points out it needs zero equipment. It boosts circulation, helps your mood, gets you outside. And, importantly, it gently prepares your joints and those still recovering ligaments for more activity later on.
And make it practical. Strap the baby in a carrier, use the stroller, just step outside for 10-15 minutes when you can. It's a great way to combine movement and maybe a little bit of mindfulness. Okay, but beyond walking, we need to focus inward. Starting with that area that took the biggest hit, the pelvic floor.
Yes, two key exercises are detailed here for reconnecting and starting that recovery. First, diaphragmatic breathing. And this isn't just, taking deep breaths. It's a specific core exercise.
Explain that connection, because I think people hear breathing exercise and maybe don't realize how functional it is postpartum.
Okay, so think of your core like a canister. Your diaphragm is the lid, your pelvic floor is the base, and your deep abs wrap around. When you inhale properly, diaphragmatically, your ribs should expand out to the sides, your belly should rise gently, and your pelvic floor should actually relax and descend slightly. As you exhale, you gently draw the ribs down and in. Your deep abs, the transverse abdominis or TA, engage inwards like a corset, and your pelvic floor gently lifts up and in. This coordinated movement reestablishes the brain-body connection. It retrains how these muscles should work together automatically, a connection that often gets disrupted, almost shut down during late pregnancy and birth.
So you're making that connection conscious again. That's the first step.
Okay.
And the second exercise, the classic, Kegels. But not just quick squeezes, right? The guide is specific.
Right. We need deliberate, focused work. The instruction is to contract and lift the pelvic floor muscles, lifting up inside you, and hold that contraction for a decent amount of time, like 5 to 10 seconds. Then, just as importantly, fully relax for the same duration before the next rep. Aim for maybe 10-15 repetitions. Pelvic floor PTs often use the elevator analogy, which is helpful. Imagine lifting the elevator slowly up several floors, holding it, then slowly lowering it all the way back to the ground floor, ensuring it fully rests before lifting again. This builds both strength and endurance, which you absolutely need for hours of standing, carrying, lifting.
Makes sense. Okay, moving up slightly to core recovery work. And we have to shout this from the rooftops again. Forget crunches, at least for now. They can be harmful early on. The focus has to be on those deep stabilizing muscles.
Yes, the danger with crunches, sit-ups, even some traditional plank variations done too early, is how they increase intra-abdominal pressure. They tend to push that pressure outwards. If your core canister isn't sealed properly yet because of DR or stretched tissue, that pressure can bulge out through the weak spots, making separation worse or straining the pelvic floor. We need safer options.
Okay, so what are the safe alternatives the sources recommend?
First one is pelvic tilts. Really gentle. You lie on your back, knees bent, feet flat. The movement is subtle. You gently flatten your lower back against the floor by tilting your pelvis slightly back, feeling that deep, low abdominal engagement. Then you gently tilt the other way, creating a small arch. It's a small, controlled rock, teaching those deep TA muscles to activate without creating that harmful outward pressure.
Okay, subtle but important. What's next?
Heel slides.
Yeah.
Also lying down, same starting position. You keep your core gently engaged using that connection you found with the tilts and the breathing, and then slowly slide one heel out along the floor, straightening the leg. The key is maintaining a stable pelvis and spine. Don't let your back arch off the floor, only go as far as you can control, then slowly slide it back in. Alternate legs. This teaches the core to stabilize your trunk while your limbs are moving, which is exactly what happens when you walk, lift, do pretty much anything.
Right, functional stability. Okay, so once that deep core connection feels a bit more solid, we can think about broader strength training, but the emphasis here is body weight first, focusing on stability and control, not heavy lifting.
Absolutely. LUDE needs to be introduced gradually and functionally. Your sources highlight 3 key bodyweight moves, and they really stress correct form.
First up, glute bridges. These seem fantastic because they hit the glutes, the lower back, and reinforce that core engagement all at once.
They are brilliant. When doing them, the emphasis is lift comes from squeezing your glutes, not arching your lower back. You should feel it in your backside primarily. Keep the pelvis relatively neutral at the top. Avoid that big hyperextension of the spine. And it's noted here that the source material points to instructional videos. That tells you form is paramount. Don't just guess.
Good point. Precision matters. Next are squats, another powerhouse for lower body strength. How does the postpartum focus change the squat?
The focus shifts heavily to maintaining that neutral spine throughout the movement and coordinating your breath with the core engagement we talked about. Inhale as you lower, keeping the core engaged to support your back. Exhale as you push back up, maybe adding a gentle pelvic floor lift as you rise. Think about the functional aspect. This is how you pick things up off the floor. Doing it correctly protects your back every single time.
Makes total sense. And the third one, modified push-ups for upper body strength.
Yes, and modified is the key word. Start with push-ups on your knees or even incline push-ups against a wall or a sturdy countertop. The goal isn't reps initially. It's maintaining a rigid plank position with your torso. Don't let your hips sag or your lower back arch. Keep that core tight the whole time. You're building stability first, preparing your shoulders and arms for all the lifting and carrying that's coming or already happening.
Okay, we've covered a lot of what to do, but just as critical is knowing what not to do, especially early on. Section 4, red flags and consistency challenges. Some things can really set you back.
Yes, the sources are very clear about avoiding high-impact workouts in the initial stages. That means no running, no jumping, no burpees, no high-intensity interval training, HIIT, that involves impact. Your pelvic floor, remember, is still healing. It needs time to regain its strength and ability to handle downward pressure. Hitting it with repeated impact too soon can absolutely cause or worsen issues like incontinence or prolapse symptoms. Just wait on the high impact.
And heavy weightlifting is also on the avoid list initially.
Definitely. Things like heavy deadlifts, overhead presses, anything that requires really significant bracing and creates a massive spike in that intra-abdominal pressure. The rule of thumb is, if you choose to add external weight, start incredibly light. Focus purely on nailing the form, breathing correctly through the movement. Never hold your breath or strain. Build that stability foundation first before you start loading it heavily.
And we have to say it one more time. Crunches and sit-ups, still a major red flag early postpartum.
Massive red flag. Because of how they direct pressure outwards, potentially worsening diastasis recti, you really need to stick with those deep core activation exercises we discussed, the breathing, tilts, heel slides, until you've rebuilt that foundational support or, ideally, been cleared by a PT for more advanced work.
Okay, so we know the rules, what to do, what to avoid, but then comes the reality check. Consistency, finding time, finding energy, finding any routine with a newborn. It's tough. The sources acknowledge this, right? How do we approach consistency in this phase?
We have to totally redefine it. Consistency doesn't mean an hour-long gym session every day. Not even close. It might mean finding 5 or 10 minutes here and there, maybe multiple times a day. The absolute first tip is listen to your body. Your guide really stresses this. Go with the flow. Some days you'll have a bit more energy. Some days you'll be running on empty. On those empty days, rest is the recovery work. Don't beat yourself up for missing a planned workout. Focus on the next small opportunity.
That's crucial. Okay, what else helps? Finding support seems important.
Hugely. Both practical support, if you can get it, like someone watching the baby for 20 minutes, but also emotional support. The sources suggest things like joining a postpartum-specific fitness class or group, even online, or just connecting with other new parents. Knowing others are going through the same unpredictable schedule, the same challenges, it just reduces that mental load and can provide real motivation.
And then there's making it baby-friendly. Integrating movement into life with baby.
Yeah, this is where the practical tips come in. Instead of needing separate exercise time, weave it in. Daily walks with a stroller that's movement, fresh air, maybe even a change of scenery for both of you. Use those unpredictable nap times for a quick 5-minute circuit of glute bridges or heel slides right there on the living room floor. Or wear the baby in a good supportive carrier while you do gentle squats or lunges around the house. The baby adds a little resistance.
Love that. Okay, and the last piece on consistency. Setting realistic goals. This seems key to avoiding frustration.
Absolutely. The focus needs to shift away from, say, weight loss numbers or fitting into pre-pregnancy genes right now. That can be really demoralizing. Instead, the recommendation is to focus on how you feel. Track functional improvements. Notice when you have a bit more energy. Celebrate feeling slightly less achy after lifting the car seat. Recognize improvements in your mood. Those small functional wins are way more motivating and sustainable in this phase. They build momentum. Small wins really matter here.
Focusing on function over aesthetics, that feels much more empowering.
It really is. It's about building capability and feeling better in your body now, rather than chasing an external target that might feel impossible some days. Quality over quantity, always.
Right, so we're asking the body to do all this rebuilding, stabilizing, healing.
Wow.
We absolutely cannot forget the fuel. We need the building blocks. Section 5, fueling the recovery.
Oh, nourishment is completely non-negotiable. Your body just did something incredible, and now it's in repair mode, potentially producing milk, running on fumes. You need high-quality fuel to support tissue healing, balance hormones, and just maintain energy levels.
Okay, the source material breaks nutrition down into those three main macronutrient pillars. Let's start with protein. Why is it so vital postpartum?
Protein provides the amino acids, the literal building blocks, for repairing tissues, muscles, connective tissue, everything that got stretched or maybe torn. It's also crucial for making hormones and enzymes. The guides reference reliable sources like lean meats, poultry, fish, eggs, dairy, legumes, tofu. Getting enough protein helps with satiety too, which can manage those energy dips from sleep deprivation.
And you mentioned earlier, if you're breastfeeding, the protein needs go up even more, right?
Significantly more. Lactation demands a lot. The general advice is often an extra 20-25 grams of protein per day compared to non-breastfeeding needs, just to support milk production without your body having to break down its own muscle tissue. Food really is medicine here.
Okay, pillar two, healthy fats. Why are these important beyond just calories?
Fats are critical for hormone production and regulation. Think about that hormonal roller coaster. Postpartum healthy fats help stabilize things. They're also essential for brain health, mood regulation, and absorbing fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K. We're talking sources like avocados, nuts, seeds, chia, flax, hemp, olive oil, fatty fish like salmon. Omega-3s in particular are really beneficial for mood.
Makes sense. And the third pillar, complex carbohydrates. Sometimes carbs get a bad rap, but the sources here emphasize their importance.
Yes, because your body and your brain need energy, especially when you're sleep-deprived and physically recovering. Complex carbs provide sustained energy release, unlike sugary simple carbs that lead to crashes. Think whole grains oats, quinoa, brown rice, along with starchy vegetables like sweet potatoes, squash, beans, lentils. These provide fiber too, which helps with digestion, another common postpartum issue. Trying to run on fumes and unstable blood sugar, that's a recipe for feeling awful. Steady energy is key.
Absolutely. Okay, and the final piece of the nutritional puzzle, maybe the simplest but easiest to forget, hydration.
Oh, a massive alert on this one, especially if you're breastfeeding, because breast milk is mostly water. Dehydration will tank your energy levels, mess with your mood, cause headaches, and can even impact milk supply. The specific instruction is aimed for at least 8-10 cups, that's about 2.5 liters, of water or other hydrating fluids daily, more if you're nursing or if it's hot or you're exercising.
Yeah, it's so easy to get behind on fluids when you're busy with a baby. The guide suggests practical tips like keeping a huge water bottle with you always, or putting a full glass of water next to your nursing chair every single time you sit down. Make it visible, make it easy.
Exactly. Don't wait until you feel thirsty.
Yeah.
By then, you're already getting dehydrated. Consistent sipping throughout the day is the goal.
Okay, that brings us towards the end of this deep dive. So the final takeaway. If you remember one thing from all this great information you gathered, what should it be? I think it's this. Postpartum fitness isn't a race or a punishment. It's an act of deep self-care, truly. It's about moving forward into this new chapter, supporting your body's incredible healing process, building functional strength for the demands of parenthood, and finding genuine confidence in the body you have now. Your journey is yours alone. Progress won't be a straight line, and that's completely okay.
Beautifully put. And as we wrap up, we absolutely must repeat that crucial disclaimer from your sources. Everything we've discussed, it's for informational purposes only. It cannot and should not replace personalized advice from your healthcare provider. Always, always talk to your doctor, your midwife, or ideally, a specialized pelvic floor physical therapist before starting any new exercise program, especially if you have any concerns like DR, prolapse, or pain.
That professional partnership is really the cornerstone of a safe and effective recovery. Okay, so our final provocative thought for you, the listener, to mull over. Given how much we've talked about core stability and the constant physical demands of parenting, lifting, carrying, bending, we suggest you maybe do a little research into the long-term impact of posture, specifically your posture while carrying your baby as they grow.
Ooh, that's a good one, because that continuous, often asymmetrical load on your spine, hips, shoulders, it requires ongoing strength, yes, but also conscious postural awareness and correction. Thinking about how you carry, not just that you carry, builds perfectly on the foundation we discussed today. That's a great next step, and thank you so much for sharing these fantastic, detailed sources with us for this deep dive.
Absolutely. It's what we do. Our mission is always to help you feel informed, confident, and connected to reliable info, which, speaking of reliable info, you can always find clear, practical articles over at bfit.ai.
Definitely check them out. Until next time, keep digging deeper into what matters to you.
And stay strong. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.